Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Battle to Be podcast, the Phoenix and the Ferryman. And this is our second episode today, so I know you guys are probably super excited to hear me talk again, but I have a fun and interesting guest coming tonight who is not only a dear friend of mine, but an author and a speaker and the leader of the Growth Lab. And his program is Hushing the Inner Bully. So I'm going to bring to you Shawn Douglass.
Hey. How are you?
So good, so good. I'm really excited to have you on the show because I think it's going to be a really fun show.
I love when I get introduced as fun and interesting.
You are fun and interesting. You have a lot of different topics that we can play with,
my title is the Chief Shenanigans Officer for the Growth Lab. So I try to keep things fun. So yeah, I'm excited. I think we're going to have a lot of fun tonight.
So we are starting a brand new thing. My husband has gotten involved and he created a huge list of crazy, wacky questions that we can start our shows off with just for fun. So instead of asking my usual question, which is tell me a little bit about who you are in the world right now, after your trauma and all of that stuff, we are going to go, I already pulled one before the show and it was totally appropriate for you. So we are going to go with what is your biggest dirty little secret or guilty pleasure?
Ooh. Guilty pleasure. I really like rom-coms. Like that's totally like cheese. The cheesier, the better. The Hallmark movies, like, yeah.
1980s Christmas movies.
Oh yeah, totally. And my eyes, anytime I watch a movie like that, like I get something in my eyes. So for whatever reason, like they just leak constantly and at the drop of a hat and for many different reasons. So yeah, I guess we'll go with that as my guilty pleasure.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love a man who's in touch with his emotions. That's a challenge oftentimes, obviously, with my clientele. So when we get to play with our emotions, when we get to just embrace them and let those sappy moments come, it's a celebration. It's a joyous ability to be able to express that.
I'm the guy that can like cry at the commercial that has no reason to cry. Like that they're coming home to their new home, and for some reason I'm crying because it's nostalgic. I don't know. It takes very little to push me over the edge.
The Folgers commercial with the brother that just came home and the little girls.
Oh, yeah. In like military like homecomings, or like if you're scrolling TikTok and they have the videos where dad comes home and surprises the kids, or uncle or mom or whatever. I'm done. I'm done. Can't even talk.
So our show is always a little bit of dark side. We always want to go, we want to hear a little bit about your trauma story. We want to hear some of the things that you've been through, some of the things that you've overcome.
All right. So I guess probably the biggest traumatic experience for me was probably when I was 5 years old. My mom and my dad split, and my mom left. And to me, that felt like I was abandoned and deserted. And because I was in the formative years of my life, you know, when we're up to 7 years old is when we're kind of developing our identity and all of our beliefs and who we are. And that had a huge impact on who I was and who I am. And it took me 30 years to really, or 35 years even really, to fully come to terms and face that and address it and heal from it. So childhood trauma is real. Like, it is a huge thing, and it made an impact on who I am today. It made an impact on my career choice. It made an impact on my relationships with my kids. Like, it molded me into the human being that I am today.
There's a lot to be said for that. And I don't talk about complex PTSD very often, and I don't talk about developmental trauma very often, but that's the other side of my specialties, is because I study neuroscience and because I study the psychology of trauma, we get to do both sides of that. So my own story is also of developmental trauma and attachment disorder. That inability, insecure attachments played huge role. And it's that same thing, that fear of abandonment, that fear that you're not worthy of love, the belief systems that everyone's going to leave you, that if you want them to love you, you have to do exactly what they say, exactly how they say it, because if you disappoint them, they'll leave. Right there.
I hear you. I lived that for a long time, always being the wanting to please, because the fear of being abandoned, or the fear of being taken advantage of. So a very real part of my life. And that's kind of where the whole idea of Hush the Inner Bully came from, is when I realized that a lot of my beliefs were not based on truth, but they were based in my perception of reality, and that perhaps my perception of reality was a little bit warped and twisted because of the things that I had experienced in my life. And that inner dialogue kind of was a result of a lot of those things that I experienced early on, and of never being able to be enough, never, into my mid to late 30s, I held on to this belief in this constant nagging in my mind that I would never be successful, and would never accomplish anything because I was lazy. Now let's put this into perspective. At 38, 39, we had several companies over the years that were successful. We lived very comfortably. We were working in a position where we wanted for nothing, sending our kids to private school. Like, we were the family that, like, we made it, right? And in the back of my mind, I'm still thinking, you're never going to be a success. You're never going to make it because you're lazy. Now, more perspective. When I was in college, I took 18 to 21 credit hours every semester and worked 2 jobs. I literally survived in college on 3 to 4 hours of sleep a day. And it was class, 3 to 4 hours of sleep, go wait tables for 6 hours, and then go work at the hotel at the night desk as an auditor for 8 hours. And so that was my life. And I was constantly never being enough. It didn't matter how much I did, I was never going to be enough until I addressed that underlying belief, and really started to change that inner dialogue. And that's where the whole concept of learning to hush the inner bully came from.
This stuff is so powerful. You just like made my brain flash to this like moment. One thing my father said to me, he said, "You're too stupid to go to college." And right now I'm completing my doctorate for no other reason but to prove that not only am I not too stupid to go to college, I can do the hardest, best, biggest, baddest shit out there. So it gave me something to prove. I don't need that degree anymore. I'm doing it to prove something to myself, but also to someone who's not even here anymore. So yeah, I don't know anything about that 2 jobs and school thing. No. No, and it's really funny because I meet people all the time that have this repeating cycle, that have this personality type, that are kind of type A, but really, really driven, but always feel like they're the underdog, always feel like they're not quite there, they're not quite good enough. And there is a tremendous people pleasing aspect to that, like this huge, that part rules the day, and then the rest is kind of on the back burner. So all we do is for other people. We don't take care of ourselves. We don't make time for ourselves. But no matter what we do, no matter how good it is, it's never enough. And I meet people like this all the time. This is clients that don't know they've been traumatized. This is people that don't even know they need help because they don't recognize this as an unhealthy cycle. They just think life is that way. They just think that's all there is. And it's miserable. Some of them don't know it's miserable, but it can be so much better.
It's miserable because you're in a constant state of heightened stress, of that. Like, you never get to just sit and go, right? So when we learn, because our personality, people that are like us, we have to learn to relax. I mean, that's so, for a lot of people, that is like counterintuitive. Like, that's stupid. What do you mean you have to learn? No, like, you have to teach yourself to relax. You have to like teach yourself these basic skills of bringing down your heart rate and letting your guard down, releasing the adrenaline and all the chemicals that have you at a constant state of angst, and you're always on high alert. And yeah, when I learned that I didn't have to be that way, because I didn't always have to be in a defensive mode, I didn't always have to be in performance mode. Yeah, wow. Like, it's freeing. It's liberating to just be able to sit back and go, yeah, okay, life, like, I don't have to worry about that right now. I'm gonna sit here and I'm just gonna unplug and chill. And I would say most of my adult life, I didn't have that skill set.
I'm still challenged by the chill. Ask my husband, he'll tell you I don't know how to relax. I won't sit still for the length of an entire movie.
It's a skill set. It can be learned.
Still on that one. The cool thing here, though, that we're getting to is healing isn't a destination. Healing has no finality. We're on this pathway, we're on this journey forever. So even as we recognize the things that happen to us, even as we recognize the causes, even as we recognize our behaviors and our patterns, and we practice the solutions, and they're called a practice for a reason, there are still days when you wake up and everything is wrong and you fall into old patterns and you feel old kind of ways and you do all the things that you know better than to do. But that's what healing is. As long as you're moving forward, taking steps, and you're going to have more good days than bad days the further along the pathway you get. But we're never there. So it's always finding those partners. Nobody has to do it alone. So you gotta find that network, those partners, those people that can support you.
Absolutely. I don't know if I like the idea that you're never there. I would be open to fleshing that out. I think absolutely healing's a process, and there's always things to. You're always going to be looking at it from another perspective. And today I'm a different person than I was yesterday. So as I look at that experience from today's viewpoint, maybe there's another layer. I don't know. To phrase it in the way of you never get there is just
It's sad.
daunting to me. Yeah, it's I don't like that.
I like that the
journey can be real.
I like to think of it as the journey is more important than the destination. So if we're always focused on the I'm going to be better, I'm going to get this to this place, I'm going to have this result, then we're not in the present and we're not experiencing what we're experiencing right now. So to be focused on this picture in our heads of what better looks like, of what healed looks like, it shifts all the time. We don't know what healed looks like.
And I guess in my belief system and the way I look at things, I believe that the healing has already, like, it. I am a whole person. I am a whole human being. I lack nothing. And so I guess healing to me is more of it's already happened and I'm just becoming aware of the different perspectives, and I'm learning. So maybe for me, I just need to look at it as it's a continual learning process and not a healing process, because I really do feel like we don't lack, like in my map of the world, my worldview, I truly believe that we were created perfect. And then we came into this world and we were programmed for failure because of the traumatic things and the experiences that we have. And then we get to rediscover, I guess you could say, who it is that we truly are and our true identity, that we're fully resourced, that we're completely whole, that we lack nothing, and that we live in an abundant universe that supports us, and that life happens for us and it's not happening to us, and all of these concepts and these ideas that we get to discover, as we unlearn the crap that we learned as we grew up.
I love that. That's a positive. It's a positive way of looking at things. And I feel like we kind of come at things from a really similar place, but the language is a little different. Probably. So, but like the universal energy and the concepts of everything being interconnected, and time is an interesting conversation. Usually,
time being non-linear and not, yeah.
Yes.
I'm still working with that one.
Right, and perception. Perception is also a really interesting conversation to just go down a whole bunch of rabbit holes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But nonetheless, every day we get a lot of opportunities to experience new things, to learn new things, to try new things, and to be entirely different. So every single morning when you wake up, you have the opportunity to choose who you want to be today. Who do you want to put out into the world? And most people don't realize they can choose who they want to be. And just figure out what your core values are, or a lot of
I lost you.
people call them core values. Well, Aha! We fixed it.
Well, that was awkward.
We have a there's a tropical storm. Apparently not that far off, so
You're the reason we're getting all this rain.
Probably. I think it's still in Mexico at the moment. But we tend to get like offshoots that are way too early, way earlier than they should be. But sometimes that happens. Internet's crazy. All right. So tell us, you have so much going on. We're going to shift topics a little bit because tell us about your family. Tell us about your amazing wife and your amazing kids and what you do for the community and for all these amazing kiddos.
All right. So my wife and I, Marie, have been married for 21 years. We have a 19-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 29-year-old who we adopted when he was 16. For the last 21 years, we have been, last 19 years, we have been foster parents in one form or another. We currently run a group home in Northwest Ohio for kids who are in the foster care system. And the kids that typically end up in our home are kids who have seen a lot of trauma, have experienced a lot of trauma, and who this isn't their first placement. So if you know anything about foster care, that gives you an idea and a scope of kind of the kids that we work with on a daily basis. That's kind of our zoo. We live in Northwest Ohio on 7.5 acres roughly. We have 2 alpacas, 4 goats, 2 miniature horses, a couple of dogs, some chickens, and God only knows what other pets are here that I don't know about.
Oh no.
So when I say welcome to the zoo, I literally mean welcome to the zoo.
I've seen pictures. I've seen video, and the goats are adorable. I'm not sure about the alpacas yet. They're kind of scary.
Oh, the alpacas are my favorites.
They look like they're going to bite you.
No, they're my favorite.
They're very cute.
They are. I think they're my favorite because I think they're a lot like me. They're a little standoffish, but really they're sweet and kind on the inside. So they're rescues, so it's funny. You can barely pet them because they're so skittish and sketchy, because they were rescues and we don't really have a lot of information on their history. But they're slowly warming up to us, like really slowly. It's been over a year.
That's pretty slow. That's really very.
It is, but now like they will eat out of your hand, and their favorite thing in the world is fig Newtons. So we have packs and packs of fig Newtons in our pantry that you just go out and feed the alpacas fig Newtons because it's therapeutic.
And is part of why you have all the animals to help with the kids?
No, we have all of the animals because the pandemic, and I asked for a puppy, and we ended up with 4 goats and 2 horses and 2 alpacas.
Did you get a puppy?
No. I stopped asking for a puppy because every time I would ask for a puppy, we got 2 more goats.
Dogs are the best. I love dogs.
We have 2 dogs. But literally all of the outside animals aren't mine. The backstory is at the beginning of the pandemic, we had an older lab boxer who was getting on in his years, and I knew he wasn't going to be with us much longer. And so I wanted to get a puppy so his energy could rub off a little bit on the puppy. And so I went to Marie and I said, I really wanted a puppy. And we started looking, and she came to me and she said, I found these 2 goats. And I'm like, that's not a puppy. And they're bottle babies and blah, blah, blah. I said, you know what? I said, I don't care as long as you understand that I don't do chores. You can get whatever you want, whatever animals you want, as long as you understand I don't do chores.
I'm not doing this animal stuff.
So that was what, almost 2 years ago, and now we have 4 goats, 2 alpacas, 2 miniature horses, and 17 chickens, and yeah.
At least you can eat the chickens.
We never buy eggs, so that's a bonus.
Right. So tell us about your projects that you have going on. Tell us about your business and the work that you're doing in the world.
So other than the foster home, the group home, we run a community called the Growth Lab. Marie and I do, and it is a group of like-minded individuals who are heart-centered and who want to make an impact in the world and need a place to grow. And each month we come together. We do a monthly book study. We do weekly virtual happy hour where people come together and just shoot the shit. Like it literally, this is a funny story. When we first launched the first virtual happy hour, everybody comes together. We got like 15 people on the Zoom call. And I'm like, all right, I got to make this meaningful, right? Because I got to lead and trying to overmanage. And so I had these like discussion type cards, and I'm like, I'm going to pull one of these cards and ask a question. And I pulled the card and asked the question, and they're like, wait, this is supposed to be happy hour. And I was like, okay, noted, done. So we come together once a week and literally just have fun. It's shenanigans and supporting one another, and we laugh and we cry and we have a good time. And then monthly we come together and do a deep dive into a book, whatever the book is that we've decided to study that month. And then there's other various opportunities to connect and grow, support one another. And we have a retreat that's coming up in January. That's going to be in Kissimmee, Florida, that is open to anyone that is interested in personal growth and becoming the best them that they can be. So if you want more information on that, they can reach out. We are working on a book project together. Krista, you have graciously contributed to a book that we're working on called In the Arena, which is a project to inspire and encourage new entrepreneurs. So getting ready to launch a podcast, working on a couple of courses. So there's a lot going on.
I would rather see a lot going on than stagnation. And as we have this entire group of entrepreneurs that we're always spending time with, it's fun to watch the spurts. Like people go on 5 different projects all at once, and then they take like this little like, oh my gosh, that part's over, now what? And then there's this moment of redirection and refocus and figure it all out and make a plan, and then everybody kind of does the little spurt again. So it's really fun to watch the leapfrog growth process that's kind of happening here, and to know that, again, this is a situation, whether you're an individual or whether you're an entrepreneur, you really need to reach out, make connections, create a support group, and really learn. And it is a learned skill. Learn to actually lean on those people. Learn to actually ask for what you need. Learn to provide value and to give to those people easily and freely, and to recognize what they need without them asking. And when you start being able to work as a unit that way, where you're always giving, but you're also receiving, you will be elevated to levels that you can't even dream of right now. You will find that the things that you want to achieve are easy to achieve, that you're not struggling against resistance anymore. And some of us find it really challenging to do that. How is that for you?
Yeah, it's challenging. It is to not only just to ask for help, but being an A personality or a D on the DISC scale, being willing to ask for help and then accept the help, because you know, it's hard to let go of the reins. So that's something, you don't always have to be in control. Like, you don't always have to um, hold the strings. It's okay to give those up sometimes. I'm preaching to the choir here. So
Right. No, literally, I was talking to my coach, and all your coaches should have coaches. And if they don't have coaches, they're probably not the right coach for you. Because your people need to be supported just as much as they're supporting you. So literally, on my new note that I have up on the wall is fuck perfection, shoot for progress. And that was like this whole thing that, nope, I can't. It's not ready. And
a friend of mine today online asked the question, what is your greatest lesson you've learned in the online space, in the digital space? And my response was, done is better than perfect. And that's hard. Like, I can't tell you how many projects I've worked on till perfection, and then launched, and they just like complete flop. And it's like, I've wasted hundreds, probably thousands of hours on perfecting different things to bring to market, and then nothing, because it would have been much better just to get it done and get it out there to see if it was even worth spending time on. And one of the things that I've learned in my entrepreneurial journey is that it's a process. It's all about, okay, let's do this, and then let's see what works, and then let's try it again, and let's tweak this. It's a constant iteration. Okay, this is an iteration, and then you go, that didn't feel right. That didn't feel good at all. And so you kind of bring it all back in, and you tweak it, and you mess around a little bit, and then you put it back out there, and it goes, oh, okay, that felt a little bit better. And that's what life is like. Whether you're an entrepreneur or not, when in life, we just have to put ourselves out there. And then if it doesn't feel good, you just kind of bring it back in and go, okay, well, let's tweak this, and let's try again. But the key is to never stop trying.
I'm a super visual person. The dory fish is constantly in my head, bumping into things. Literally, I see that all the time. Just keep swimming. Doesn't matter if you're upside down. Doesn't matter if you're running into things. Just keep swimming. So, yeah, life motto.
Yeah. It's all about the people that you see that are successful because they took action, not because they were perfect, not because they did it better on the first try than you did or I did. We don't know how to do things until we do them. So you just have to try. And you have to take action, and that's how you find success.
Somebody was saying 30-second decisions, and it stressed me out. I literally was like, wait, they're like, you should never have to consider a business decision for more than 30 seconds. And that's how you get there. And I was like, wait, I want to know I want the facts. I want statistics. I want facts. I want to, weigh my options. I'm like a 24-hour person. So that literally made me uncomfortable. I was like, I would never be able to do that.
A little anxiety inducing.
I'm not a millionaire. This dude's a millionaire. So maybe I should listen to that 30 seconds decision-making thing. Because then you go with your instincts. Then you just go with your gut instead of all that data that may or may not be useful. So I might try.
Well, and ultimately the only question to ask is, will it move me closer to my goal? Will it move me closer to my purpose? And if you answer yes to that question, what else is there to think about? But right. I know we like to analyze. What is the ROI, and will it get me there in the right amount of time? And is there a quicker way, or is there a different way? And So yeah, I
Risk
get it.
ratio.
Then we have that analysis paralysis, right? And then the opportunity passes and you're like, well, shit, now what do I do? I have to wait for the next opportunity.
Yep. Yep. I'm looking at that 30-second rule. I find it very intriguing and terrifying at the same time. But I love the idea that things that scare you are things that you maybe should look at.
Yeah.
So like, I need to look at that reaction because it's literally like gut instinct reaction of, oh no, that's not okay. So like, oh, that's fun. Let's play with that. So that's the next growth. That's the next growth question for me is why am I so uncomfortable with that idea? Why does it make me want to throw up?
It's a good question.
Right? So what's next for you?
What's next for me?
What's next for you? What's your big goal?
I'm really focusing on the projects right now that I'm working on. I haven't let's get these things done.
You're on your short terms right now.
I really am. I mean, long term for us, it's the dream is location and time freedom, to be able to devote more to our family and be able to have a little bit more freedom than we do right now, because the group home, of course, has been for the last 19 years 24/7. So Marie and I, we don't get to travel together. So if she's going somewhere, I'm here with the kids. If I'm going somewhere, she's here with the kids. We rarely get to experience life together unless we have 5 or 7 or however many ducklings behind us. So we're looking at opportunities and ways to create some freedom there. So that's kind of the goal.
Well, you only have one now in the house that's youngish.
Well, we have currently in our home, we have a 10-year-old, a 12-year-old, a 2 16-year-olds and an 18-year-old, and then our 19-year-old. So what is that? That's 6 right now. I lose count.
And it changes often. Or as emergency dictates.
No, it doesn't. We are really we like balance, and we don't like to change the chaos. When you bring a new kid into the house, it's just very chaotic for a while as alphas find their way, and everybody has to, there's the pecking order. Everybody has to figure out where everybody fits. And so we don't like a lot of change. We just brought a new kid in. So things are kind of like this right now. But we typically have 3 or 4 foster kids and then our 2 kiddos.
It's big, commendable work. It makes a big difference in the world, even when you don't feel like it does.
It's the universe is crazy. It really is. There are days, of course, when you're just like, I'm done. I'm locking the doors, kicking everybody out. I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done. And those are the days where you get a phone call from a kid who lived with you 17 years ago and says, that was the best year of my life. You taught me so much. I never had a family. You were the only family I ever had. And just rips your heart out. And you're just like, damn it. Like, I was good. I had convinced myself I didn't need to do this anymore. Right. And then you get that and it's like, all right, we can keep going.
Forever.
It really is a calling. It's when you found your purpose and you've done it for 19 years, the typical couple in our situation lasts 9 months.
Wow.
Like, that's the typical lifespan of a couple in a group home. And here we are 19 years in, and 135 plus kids, and a guy that said he never wanted to get married and never wanted to have kids. Joke's on me. So.
But you didn't know what you had to offer to everyone else yet.
No, I didn't.
Big sigh. Nope. All right. If your wife was here and we asked her to tell us an embarrassing story about you, what would she say? Because you know there's one that she always says.
And we don't really do that, but I don't know. She might tell you about the time that I split my pants on a job interview.
Oh, no. At a job interview?
Literally. So we've worked for a couple different agencies through our time in the foster care system. And we were transitioning from one program to another, and we were interviewing, and we were on their campus, and they were taking us around to the different houses and showing us the programs. And I got out of, they were kind of chauffeuring us around in a big white van, right? The 15 passenger vans. And I got out of the van, and literally I got out of the van and my pants split from my crotch all the way to my knee. And there was nothing you could do to hide it. Like, there's nothing. And the guys, I'm just looking at the guy, I'm like, what do you do?
So, you're not a commando kind of guy, right?
No, I was not, thankfully. That would have been really bad. Right? But then, so what do? You take your coat off or your whatever, and you tie it around your waist, and then you're wearing a skirt for the rest of the interview, trying to cover up in the breezy pants.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. All right, so on that note, how can people find you?
Easiest way to find me is Facebook, Shawn Douglass with 2 S's. Very easy to find. And you can also find us at thegrowthlab.fun, not .com, .fun. And you can always submit a message through there to connect with us. Or my email address is shawn@shawndouglass.net. So either of those ways, I would love to connect. And if there's any way that I can serve you, I would love the opportunity to do that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun.
I will chat with you later if you want to hang on down there.
All right.
Down there in a minute. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us again this evening and for allowing Shawn and I to entertain you. And again, feel free to reach out to him. He is an amazing person. He's very skilled at what he does. And I gave you guys all of our announcements earlier. So if you want to contribute to the Battle to Be projects, right now we are raising funds for the Ferryman project. We are looking to purchase a laser engraver of our own so that we have that on site and we can do the plaques that we do for you guys relatively quickly and get them to you right away when we have the need to do that. So that's what we're currently raising funds for, to make our program independent so that we're able to do things as cost effectively and quickly as possible for you guys. So if you want to contribute to that, please do so at battletobe.org. And I will see you guys on Thursday.